begun, and to help us work through the legalese, we welcome in University of New Hampshire law professor Michael McCann, and joining us also via satellite, Harvey Steinberg, who has been both a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney. Michael, let's start with you. We heard the district attorney lay out some of the case today at the arraignment. We all know it is on the prosecution to prove Hernandez's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. How do they begin to do that?
So, Amber, we heard Bill McCauley, the assistant district attorney, make a pretty compelling argument that if what he's saying can be proven, presents Hernandez as a central figure in this murder, that there are text messages, that there are recordings, that there is a curious absence of a recording, that there are witnesses who implicate him, that there are comments that he made which point to motive, all of which point him in the direction of guilt. However, all of it still has to be proven, and the defense will now present its case.
And now, Harvey, we see that Hernandez's lawyers on the flip side, Michael Fee, he called the state's evidence circumstantial. They have a body but no gun, as far as we know. They say they're going to prove a motive. Based on knowing all of that, what type of defensive strategy can we expect to see?
Well, I think they're going to redo everything the prosecution did, look at it in a very close situation. They'll go over it with a magnifying glass. When you think about it, based on the opening remarks of the prosecutor, they did a lot in 9 days, and it's not uncommon or unheard of that mistakes may have been made. Now we'll take some time in terms of the defense. We'll take some time. They'll look at everything, and the only motive that I heard was something to the effect of, I can't trust anyone. Well, I don't know that that is a motive sufficient to commit murder. So that's going to be a big hole so far in the case as well.
It does appear to be a hole, although I think Bill McCauley pointed out that there's other forms of evidence at play that would go to motive. There are additional text messages. There are recordings that I think would have to bolster that comment. I agree that in and of itself that comment probably isn't enough. But it sounds as if they have other information, and as you know, Harvey, they didn't present everything right now. But it will be interesting to see how much they can bolster that alleged comment that he said that I don't trust anyone anymore. I suspect there's more than just that.
And Michael, one other thing, I know that you sort of specialize in sports and entertainment law as well. Because this is a high-profile sports figure, can we expect the judge to handle this trial a little bit differently?
I think the judge will be sensitive to the media attention, the fact that there are going to be cameras at this trial, whereas at most trials there aren't, that there will be great incentives for leaks. There'll be media will be seeking all information, trying to break stories as aggressively as possible, and that because of that there will have to be protective orders that prevent information from being disclosed and that set pretty high penalties for any disclosures. And I think both sides are in agreement that it's important that there not be leaks in a case like this.
Well, just in reference to Michael's statement, one would think if you had more than I don't trust anyone anymore, I can't trust anyone anymore, you wouldn't make that statement. That makes it look very, very weak on your side. And remember, the prosecution was trying to convince a judge to hold Mr. Hernandez without bond, and they're trying to hold somebody who obviously waited around for charges to be filed, and all he did was get a lawyer in the interim. So that statement is telling, and I think that that may be the big hole that the defense can use. In terms of the judge's treatment, I think that high-profile athletes, especially what I call the post-OJ age, get treated more harshly because the judge, the system, the prosecution are subject to scrutiny, and always the suggestion is going to be made, oh, Hernandez got treated specially because he's a former professional athlete, he's a former football player.
All right, well, Harvey Steinberg and Michael McCann, thanks so much for your expertise. Well, they are the sack masters of the NFL.